Hi Flosstube, I'm Lori and welcome to Once Upon a Stitch. Today is Tuesday, November 1st, All Saints Day. Tomorrow is Dias de los Muertos, or All Souls Day. And welcome to my channel. It is a new month already. I can't believe how fast this year is going. Well, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad you decided to hit the button to see what I'm all about. I hope you enjoy your visit and decide to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And to all my returning viewers, thank you so much for coming back every time. You always make comments about how you never miss an episode, so thank you. And even if you don't comment, I know a lot of people that I've met, they said, I watch you all the time, but I just don't comment, which is fine. You know, whatever works for you. I'm just glad you're here. And of course, if you ever have any questions, please feel free to ask. Okay, I'm going to get right into it. First, I'm going to give you a few questions or comments that people have made on my videos. And I'm so happy that you enjoyed the planning section of the video. In my last video, a lot of you've commented about how you plan, or whether you do plan, or you're going to start to plan. And then some people don't like planning. I watched the Virginia stitcher, Vickie, and she gave a beautiful, beautiful explanation of how she stitches what she wants to stitch, and stitches on whatever fabric she wants to stitch on. It was really a good video, and it was a good introduction of how she manages her stitching journey. So if you want to see somebody that just stitches what she wants, when she wants, and how she explains it, check her out. I think you'll enjoy her video. What else was I going to say? Oh, actually the planning came from Cheryl and Michelle up in Canada, were asking me about it, and they did comment that they are starting to plan, and actually for their February month, they were going to call it Finish It February. So I wasn't sure if she was going to stitch on things that are going to be close to a finish, or if she was going to physically do FFOs, but whichever way, they're planning their months for the upcoming year. So that was great to hear. Somebody asked me about, I had shown, I guess in my last video, a pillow that had lizard litter in it, and she wanted to know how I got it in there. I believe with that pillow, I don't remember if I left the seam on the bottom or in the back, in the middle where you cut it and you open it there. I believe it was on the bottom. So I leave a section open of the pillow and I turn it right side out and I start filling it with fiber fill. Then I get my lizard litter and I get a funnel. Actually, I purchased it at the dollar store. I think it was 3 for $1.25. They had 3 different sizes. So I used one of the funnels and I pour it in, and you decide how much you actually want in there. Some people just put lizard litter in it, and and it depends how well you pack it or how loose you want it to be. It's all a matter of preference. There's no rhyme or reason to how you like your pillow. And then I put more, what I did then was I put more fiber, I just put some in there. And then I put more fiber fill to get the pillow to the consistency I want, like the feel of it. I don't like those big bulging pillows, so I kind of like them more flatter. So I put fiber fill in it, and then I whip stitched the bottom. And I think on that one I put some black chenille around it. That's how I did that one. Okay, I think that was all the questions. Just 2 things that I want to tell you about what's coming up in the near future, and then, well, kind of now, but it's going to happen in July. And that is in August this year, I attended the New Jersey Flosstube retreat. It has now, the title of the retreat has been changed to Stitch New Jersey 2023 Retreat. If you're interested to know more about it, Arlene on YouTube who is also Works by ABC, is running the retreat. And she talks about it in her videos. There is a registration form that is for the wait list. I believe, if I'm not wrong, I think she went through the wait list, and anybody who wanted to come, this past one, did come. So don't feel that because you're on a wait list, you might not be able to attend. Things happen, you know. Right now, I did register, and I booked the hotel, and but you know, it's like anything, you don't know what's going to happen. You hope for the best, and you hope that you can attend. So I will put the information on the bottom of the drop-down box. There's a link in her Instagram, which she goes by Works by ABC, and then there's an email which is called stitchnjretreat altogether @gmail.com. I will again put that in the description box if you would like to email her. And basically the first thing you do is just fill out a registration form to get on the wait list. And that's it, if you're interested. And anybody who can come, I'm looking forward to meeting you all and seeing all the people that were there this year. A few of them have said they're coming again. So it's awesome. One other thing that is going to start on December 2nd is Lindsi, who is Blushing Pink Stitches on YouTube. She is from England, and she and I have been talking. I had shown, I don't know how many videos ago, but what I was going to start from then every month to the end of this year. And I had shown Lori Holt's Flea Market flowers, which is this one right here. That I was going to start this in December. And Lindsi reached out and said, oh, I think I'd like to stitch it along with you. And I said, awesome. She knows how I stitch. I know how she stitched, in reference to, we're not going to pick this up and stitch the whole thing through. We're not going to divide it into sections. We're going to stitch on it when we want, but we're going to start it together. We're going to have an Instagram hashtag, and every time we do stitch on it, we'll post pictures of our progress. Now, a lot of people have stitched this when this first came out. People have changed colors on it. I think I'm going to go with the call for colors, and we are starting this on December 2nd this year. And the reason it's December 2nd is it's a Friday. And Lindsi works, besides having a child at home that she takes care of, and married, and a household, and she works. So she figured that a weekend she would be able to get a nice start on it. So I said, that's fine. December 2nd, we're going to start this, and then we'll post pictures. Now, I know you know that I work, well, most of you know, I work on a 2-day rotation. So that means that every 2 days I work on something and then I switch it out to something else. So you're saying, Lori, there's December 1st and then there's the 2nd, which you're going to start here. So what I decided, and that's what plans are for. Plans are made to be broken at times. It doesn't mean I'm not going to do a 2-day rotation. So what I decided, this was another start that I was going to do in December. And this is Primrose Cottage March 9 patch. And I figured if I start it, and hopefully I'll get it finished by St. Patty's Day, and I'll be able to display it. So I will do this on December 1st. I will work on this December 2nd and 3rd. If I need a second day on this, then it'll be the 4th. If I finish it in one day, then I'll just move on to my next project, which I'm going to share with you. Because so many of you commented on Autumn in the Village, I'm going to start Winter in the Village. So I'm really excited to start this one. And I just thought I'd share those plans with you. If anybody would like to join us, the hashtag, I think it's ingenious that Lindsi came up with this. And I think she decided with her husband. he got involved too. So I thought it was awesome. It's going to be hashtag back to the flea market SAL. I think that's great because, like I said, a lot of people have stitched it already. We're going to go back to it and stitch it. So I'll put that also down in the drop down box. Okay. Life at the Schicklone house has been very busy. I'm not going to get into too many details, but it's been a lot of babysitting and family visits and entertaining. So it's been busy, but fun. You know, it's always nice to see family that, you know, you don't get together that often. So, you know, we had dinner here, and then my in-laws came out, and the boys and the babies and everybody was here. So it was lots of fun. So with that being said, I stitched what I could. I finished what I could. But you know how it is. Your best laid plans don't always get finished. So anyway, I'm going to show you some previous finishes and then some finishes that I've had since the last time we were together. Fully finishes. So today is November 1st, so I'm swapping out my October monthlies to the November one. And this was Hands-On Design, and this was the Year of Celebrations, the first one. This was November. And I have a board that is from Hobby Lobby that this is sheet metal and it sticks to the magnet, and that's how I change it out every month. These leaves are clothespins from Hobby Lobby. I purchased them, I don't know if it was, I think it was 2 years ago. I don't know if they have them this year. I haven't seen them, but I love that. Then the Country Cottage monthly series. This was the November one that I will put on a stand downstairs and display it. And then we had a Lizzie Kate. I believe this is Lizzie Kate. I can't remember. I don't have the pattern. I must have given it away. November turkey. And this was stitched with DMC variegated threads. I think it was called for, I don't know, Fancy Floss. I don't know if it was Weeks or Classic Colorworks, but I had some DMCs that I thought I'd give a shot. So I did that. And this is also the Lizzie Kate Flippets. And I stitched all the months. Actually, I stitched them twice. At that time, Rebecca was a teacher. So I stitched one for her and one for her desk and one for me at home. Okay, these are the finishes that I completely finished since the last time. And this is Resting Beach Face by Hands-On Design. And I added some pins of I'm going to say it's a seagull and maybe 2 shells. This might be a sand dollar. That's what that is, a sand dollar and a shell. And I finished it with fabric that my friend Alva gave me. I'm going to call that a sandpiper. I don't know if it is, but they run along the beach, so this looks like a beach cabana and the van with the surfboard. So I think it's just so perfect for it. And I love this pillow. I love this from the first time I saw the pattern. I just love that pattern. The next one is Primrose Cottage, and this was Autumn House, and I finished it. And let me get close. And how I did it was I stitched around, left the bottom open, stuffed it. This is just fiber fill, sewn up the bottom, and then I hand stitched the rickrack. I don't know if you could, I found a thread to match it. I mean, I'm trying to hold it as still as possible. So you really can't see the stitches that well because it kind of just blends right in, but it is stitched on. I should have put that one more stitch there. Anyway, so that's my second finish. Okay, these are gonna be weapons on a Christmas tree. I finished my future granddaughter's ornament and Gianna's ornament from Prairie Schooler 8 alphabet pattern. This is Layla, and it has a bow and a red bell. I just finished it with pin dots and I put the year on it. Now, the twins are scheduled to be born this month. the day before Thanksgiving. So much to be thankful for. Just, if you're a prayer, please just pray that they're healthy. That's all we ask, that they're healthy. And so that's Layla's. Here's Libby's. Same finish. What I did was, because these were so long, and not to try to stuff them all the way down, I cut a slit in the back. I stitched it up, and then I used Arlene's tacky glue and stitched and glued a piece of matching fabric. And what I did was I had pinking shears, and I pinked the edges so that hopefully it will never fray. So that's Libby, Layla, and Gianna. She has one extra letter in her name, so hers is a little bit longer. I hope they have big Christmas trees. So that's Gianna's, and I finished them all the same way. I did two great nieces, their names last year, and I finished them differently. And I did Caleb's. I did each individual and then made them into pillows and then strung them along. That was a lot of work, so I decided to stitch these all together, not realizing how big they're going to be. This was stitched, must have been stitched on 14 count Aida. 14 or 16, but by looking at it might be 14. Oh, could be 16. So those are my fully finished pieces. Okay, what have I been stitching? Well, I showed this in my last video, but I felt I had to show it again. When I held it up, there was a section in the pattern that I says, oh, that looks a little sparse. Did I miss something? And a viewer, I believe it was Mary, commented that she thought I missed something. And she was right. Here's the pattern. Let me take it out of the plastic. And I left it out on purpose, but then when I held it up, it did look very empty. This little gold star here, I'm going to call it a star because it has points right next to the candle. It was empty. And when I held it up, it kind of looked bare. So when she mentioned it, I said, let me revisit this. Because I didn't put every single doodad in this. So I did add that, but I added it in a different color. There it is right there. Instead of like that golden yellow that they wanted, I used, what did I use? It's a purple. I forget what it's called. But I used the purple that's in this pattern in different places. I used that. Like this purple here, where the cats are. So I think it looks more balanced now with that little piece there. And a few people are stitching this pattern now. So if I watch their video and they mention that they're stitching on it, I commented to, like, if you want to see a finished one, please come watch. Okay, next one. What I have to be mindful of is when I talk to you and I turn away, not to lower my voice. Because I notice on other people's videos, when they do that, it's hard to understand what they're saying. So I have to be more mindful. The next one was a new start that I had, and it was from New York Dreamer, and it's called Life Begins with Coffee. Just had to make sure because I'm reading backwards. So I started it, and just wanted to say that there was no, like, I bought this metal finishing piece, but there was no pattern in here. It called for being stitched on 32 count, so I stitched it on 16 count Aida. And what I did was I used the outline of this to make a pattern so that I could fully finish it. Isn't that cool? So what I did was I traced the outside of the cup section, and then came in maybe a half an inch, and then I made a pattern. On a piece of paper. And then I cut it out on mat board, sticky board. And so that, once I had that down, then I just wrapped the finished piece behind it. And what I did was I notched the fabric so that it was smoother and it didn't have any, I tried not to get any pleats in it. So I think I did pretty well. And then I believe, I don't know how I got this on here. It could be mounting tape because it's very flat. I have some double-sided mounting tape that I could have used with this. And I think that's how I finished it also. So that I put it down and then I cut the fabric and laid it so that it had a nice clean finish. I have a giveaway ready for today, so I'm going to save this for another giveaway since I have 3 already. Okay, that goes there. Let's put this here. Okay, then I picked up, this bag was gifted to me at a retreat. It was from Leah Fitzpatrick, and I love it. It's the only one that I have that someone else made for me, and I'm so grateful for it. The pattern is Prairie Schooler 2022 Santa, and what I accomplished was the 2 penguins. I didn't finish this one. He was stitched up to the top of his boots, so I finished his boots. I put in his gloves, the little penguin up here, and the 2 penguins below that I haven't finished. So I have basically the lights. If I do the outline stitch and write in the words Arctic Lights, and finishing the penguin, it seems like is what I have left to do. I have not bought that fluorescent yellow yet. I know somebody said they were going to do it with like colorful bulbs, like maybe red, green, blue, yellow, red, green, blue. So I don't know, that's a thought too, bright ones. But I'll decide by the next time I pick it up. This was stitched on 18 count Davos. And I put it on a small, I guess it was an 8x8 Q-snap to work on, because I find that if I don't put Davos on a frame, I lose the stitches, they fall behind. And Prairie Schooler, especially the Santas, called for Davos. So I tried using it, and that's the thing that stopped me from cross-stitching years ago. I was just a beginner cross-stitcher, and I saw a Prairie Schooler pattern at the store, and we had a store right in this town. I didn't know how lucky I was. They closed down like, maybe a couple of years after I moved in. But anyway, I purchased this Prairie Schooler, and she gave me the fabric and the threads. I don't know, maybe I picked them up at Joann's. And and she's the one that told me to stitch in hand. So that's how I started. I was stitching in hand. Then when I picked up this Davos and I was stitching, the stitches were falling behind, and I put it away and I never picked it up again until 2017. And I'm talking like 1987, 88 maybe, even 89 at the latest. Yeah. Okay, next one that I worked on was Country Cottage Needleworks Fall Festival series. And I completed the first one, and I started this one. And the frog came to visit me these past 2 weeks. Oh, he and I got along marvelously. He ribbed and I ripped. Okay, so the only thing actually I have left to finish in the second block are the leaves at the top. Okay, so I know we're not supposed to show patterns on screen, but I'm going to show you a part of a pattern. Not so much a pattern. I'm going to show you, I don't know if you can make it out. Let's see if we can do this. The border, this thing here. Okay, so I count over, now I'm not sure, yeah, this side. I counted over and it was 9 because there was 1 block left. Because, you know, each of these lines that go this way are 10 spaces. So there was 1 left there. So I thought that was 9. But I come to find out it wasn't. It was 8. So what I did was I stitched this top light tan border. Then I went in and did this flower. And then I went, oh, and I stitched a little bit like down to here. And then I stitched in this flower. So now I was putting in the center flower. And it wasn't centering. So I said, I counted that border so many times. It has to be right. So then I counted those 2 end blocks that I just showed you and found out that one was 9 and this one was 8. Oh, it's in reverse. So this one was 9, this one was 8. So I was 1 over too much. So I had to take out this whole border, and then I had to go back a couple of stitches so I could end it. Then I had to take this flower out, move it over, and then restitch. And you're saying, oh, well, what's 1 stitch? Well, besides this not being center then the top wouldn't be center. So I had to rip that out. And then I could have had a finish probably if I had maybe another hour or 2, but I was tired, and because there's not that many leaves, it's like 8 leaves. So when I pick this up again, I'll start with the 8 leaves, and then I will make sure I count properly to move on. This is what it looks like from a distance. This is stitched on, I don't know. Let's see if I wrote it down in my notes. Fall Festival, Desert Khaki, 28 count Lugana. And this is what it looks like so far. And this pattern was gifted to me by Kelly. Kelly, thank you so much. I love stitching it. This will definitely be a finish, total finish for next fall. But I will continue to work on it. The next one I worked on was Long Dog, opening Gambit. This is what the pattern looks like. And I was working on page 3. This is being stitched on a 28 count white Lugana, 2 over 2. I finished page 3 and went on to page 6. So the last time you saw it, this part was done. So I stitched under the word move, because it's here, it's your, Y-O-U-R. If you can make that out, your move. So I stitched everything below it, and I started page 6, not to move the Q-snap. Let me see what's looking there. This flag, I have a little, this is what you have to look at the end. When you hold it up and you see that little thread in the back, before you fully finish it, you got to make sure all those little fibers are cut off. So that's what it looks like. That's the width of the pattern, a lot smaller than Templar Prophecy, but I'm loving stitching this, and I'm stitching it with a Anchor 403 black. Now, my goal for this year was 2 pages, so I finished 3 pages. So my goal for my Whipco board is going to be 4 pages for next year. And then hopefully the year after I'll complete it. Fingers crossed. Then I picked up Little House Needleworks Kringles. And the last time you saw it, my goal was this row of rooms. So I completed that, and I started on the bunting, and I think I got about here on the bunting on one side. So this is being stitched on a 28 count Springfield Sage Lugana, and I finished the bunting, and I started the brickwork below it. That's the piece. So when I finished the rooms, I was saying, what can I possibly do for next year's goal for WIPGO? So I thought I would do the bunting and then all the brickwork, all this brickwork. But I'm seeing how quickly that went, that I'm gonna, that's not a real goal. So I don't know if I want to stitch the bones and then go back and do the rooms, or like, let's say this year's 2023 goal, maybe do this row up to that row, or that row and crinkles. I don't want to be an overachiever, but I'm hoping for that row, and then the following year finish it up. So that's where I am on crinkles. I'm not saying any goals because I have no idea how much I'll get done, but I have to set a goal for my WIPGO board before January 1st. The next one that I worked on was stitching with the Housewives calendar crates, and I picked November. And when they showed this on their video, I absolutely fell in love with the colors. It just looked beautiful. Okay, they did it on a black. Now, I cannot stitch on black. I really struggle with it. So I decided to do it on a country mocha. I have to say, I love the piece, but I'm not crazy in love with it like I was with it in the black. So, this is where I've gotten to so far. I finished all the leaves in the tree. I took out this white pumpkin because it seemed like it was way too stark right there. So I just made them all the same color. I did the house and this pumpkin. Now, this thread here, let me see what it was called. Mossy. This is mossy. It's in the leaves, it's in these leaves, it's in the vine, it's in the windows and on the roof. Well, I started at the bottom and I was working up. I did all the windows, and then I came to the dark section of the roof. And I did one side, and when I went to do the other side, it was such a difference. Oh, I know why it's looking different, because there's a leaf in here. It's hard to see on camera, but there's one of these leaves are sitting inside the roof. But one side was so dark and one side was so light. It was a different dye lot. So I had to take out this whole section and redo it with the same dye lot as this. It looks different, like I said, because there's a leaf in it. But yeah, so like I said, the frog has been visiting me this week. I also added the pumpkin here, these little flowers and leaves, and the word cranberries. So it has to go fresh cranberries, and then a line of a border and some flowers on the bottom that look like these. It goes across the bottom. This is the length of this. This stops right there. This will come down. The flowers will go here with the border and the words fresh, and then the vine has to come down. So definitely not going to be finished this year for Thanksgiving. But what I have to realize is I guess I could have made like when I'm looking at the pattern, these colors are just so, it's even hard to see on camera, but those colors are so vibrant on the black. So it's okay. It's for me. I'll enjoy it, but it's not that same vibrant as it is on black. So I am excited about their new line where they're doing it on like a tan fabric. I plan on stitching a couple of those, the monthly ones, because I really, really like them. Okay, the next one, Soda Stitch. High heels. I had, last time you saw it, I just finished this shoe. And I started the next one. Now, should I point out my mistake? Okay, I did not finish this. I have to finish the bottom flower. Here it is. Sometimes I like when people that make Flosstube, they show the pattern, then they show this, and then go back and see, okay, so this is the section that's missing, the top of the flower and the buds. Okay, so here's my mistake. And it could have been a real big frogger. I had stitched, I counted off of here, went over, straight up, stitched all this, came all the way down, and this. And then, because I was on a Zoom call, I cannot stitch when I'm on Zoom, because it's a couple of stitches in one color, a couple of stitches in another, so I just couldn't do that. So I says, I'll outline while I'm on Zoom. And I had to pay attention too. So I noticed that the heel of the shoe was, like, this was 2 over 2. Well, it was 1/2 of a stitch too high. So what I did was I added a 1/2 stitch, 2 half stitches. I don't know if you can see them, but instead of just being a row of 2 stitches, there's like a 1/2 a row, just so that it would line up. And so what I had to do on this side was I had to do the same thing so it would end up. So in here it's buried. I mean, I could have taken the red out and then added it in black, and it probably wouldn't have been as noticeable. But I like a little bit redder bottom on my heel. So hopefully with the next time I pick it up, I can finish the second shoe. I don't know Jean from the Attic, the store in Arizona, but I've heard people talk about her. But one of the things they always say that she says is stitch forward, not backwards. So that's what I did on that one. I stitched forward, I kept going. Okay, the next one that I picked up was Primrose Cottage, Spring Wishes, and Bunny Kisses. I started this at retreat this past year when we were doing the 6 new starts in 6 hours. So for 1 hour, I worked on this, and I had finished the word spring and W-I, I don't know if the S was there or not. I think it was W-I. Oh, and half an S, that's where it was, because I had a thread hanging. So I picked this up and I finished it. This is stitched on, and maybe it's either 14 or 16 count Ada. And I got it done. The colors, I mean, I did the call for colors when I had them. Like, one was a Gentle Arts that I didn't have, which was lettuce leaves. So I used the DMC that they called for the equivalent, and that's for the dark greens. So that's that one. So I'm not going to finish this now. I'm not going to take the time now to finish this particular spring one, but I will finish it before spring arrives. Okay, so that is all my stitching. Okay, let's do a giveaway. I know there was 3. Okay. I usually put numbers on here. Let's see if I can do it like this. No, I can't do it that way because... Okay. Well, let's see. Can I write it or should I... I should have been better prepared. I'm sorry. Okay. I guess we'll use numbers. Just try to remember. The first one is number 1. The usual rules. Don't say giveaway. Don't say I'd like to win. Just put a number down. I mean, I read everybody's comment. If there's a number there, even if it's an, you know, a number by itself, I will write it down. In whatever you're interested. And if you're interested in all 3, I'll put your name in all 3. But please don't say giveaway or anything to that respect. Please be 18 years or older so I can ask for your address. I was able to mail everybody's winnings like, what was it, 2 weeks ago, last week. Everybody got back to me, so they're all in the mail. So the 2 that the first one is for 2 patterns. I finished these 2. They're Lizzie Kate's. This one is Thankful String. And this one is Snowy String. And this is what Snowy String looks like. This is what Thankful String looks like. And so that's going to be number 1. This is from my friend Alva. She made a few marks on it. It looks like she was checking off her colors, but it's legible. And it says, forever will be strong and free. That goes up here and down here. And then it says, sweet cup of liberty. And there's your tea bag in red, white, and blue. And that's from Silver Creek Samplers. That's number 2. And number 3, I bought this and most likely will never stitch it. So I'm giving it away. It's Tempting Tangles design and it's called My Own Sweet Home. And it says, be it ever so humble, there's no place like home. This is number 3. Okay, so I was going through my questions, and everybody seemed to enjoy the question that I had asked, like, do you plan? How do you, what was the last question I asked? What do you do while you're stitching was one, but the last one was, I don't remember what the last question was. I took it from the list of questions that you all sent to me, but since people plan and some people don't, how do you track what projects you have if you're not scheduling them to work on, whether it be 3 months from now or whenever? If you like to share, and that says, how do you track your projects? Now, if you don't track, you can just say, I don't track. If you are monogamous, just say you're monogamous. You work on one at a time. But if somebody has, let's say, a lot of whips, do you try to work on them so many times a year? And if you do, how do you make sure you do that? So I know people like reading things like that. They like to see what other people do. And especially if you're not a Flosstuber, that you can share your way of doing things and you like to share it here, please feel free, because I know people really enjoy reading the comments that you leave. Okay, so again, Lizzie Kate's number 1, Sweet Liberty is number 2, and My Own Sweet Home is number 3. Until next time, hopefully I'll be back in 2 weeks. I hope you have a great November. Stay well, be kind. Bye guys, love you.